That's it. I'm growing a beard this week.
Thank you. Time back on. That's Ruffcraft, big boy.
Welcome back to Gus, Gawny and Gibby. I'm scrapping that. Welcome to Gus and Gawny featuring Gibby off the top.
I'll take it either way.
Yeah, they're both good.
I thought I'd let you introduce it this week.
I got some feedback straight away last week. As soon as the podcast came out, 3 loyal listeners all text me saying, what have you done? Letting Gibby lead off the charge.
I don't know. And I'm glad you've changed it up because this is undeniably a huge week for our podcast, Max.
And as we know, everyone knows who the guest is because it's up there on the Spotify. It says who the guest is, and we got no better than the man of the moment.
Max Gawn will be our guest. We had Simon Goodwin lined up for a while. We figured, if we lost and got him on a bad week, how flat could he really be? We're going into finals. He happened to book a coaches meeting at the same time as the podcast. It's a terrible oversight, so he's not in.
Yep.
I've instead gone straight to the top of the tree, pulled a few strings, all about who you know in this game, and I've got the one and only Max Gawn to come on. And boy, I've got some questions. A lot of pressures come my way, can I just say, to nail this interview because there's a lot of people want to know a lot of things about the last couple of minutes of that game. So we'll get into that. But we've got Gibby here. So
we got Gibby. We did ask Langers.
Mate.
Once again, a flat no.
He replied.
Which is, that's progress.
It certainly is. He said, I'll just read it out. I think he said negative. And I said, understood. And that was the extent of our conversation. But there's that dialogue's going. I still think that's positive. I maintain that's positive.
And we were going to maybe get some fresh blood, but we're saving a potential space for Goodwin if the coaches meeting finishes in time.
Yeah,
if
so
not,
watch
get
this
him on
space.
at some point.
Yeah, who knows?
Gibby,
Who knows? Gibby.
Welcome.
Good to be back. Gus actually asked Goodwin within 2 minutes of that game finishing, he was on the middle of the ground, if he would come on the podcast.
I said, thank God you're coming on the podcast this week. And he's like, yeah. And then celebrated, continued to celebrate. But anyway.
You were mentioning the podcast a lot when we were walking off the ground.
I think I mentioned it once.
A lot.
Understood. I think I said it's going to be a great week. I said to you something about it being a great week.
That's not all you said to me. During the set shot.
Did you say that? Hey, let's save it for my tell-all interview. Gibby, what news do you have?
What news? Well, obviously, coming out last night, we are playing in Adelaide. It was an interesting decision by the AFL. 2 in Adelaide, 2 in Tasmania. What would you have wanted to play in Tasmania?
Where was your money line? Were you thinking 2 Adelaide, 2 Tassie?
Potentially Brisbane might get 2. They had just over 15,000 at the game last week. 15,000 is the cap for the crowd in Adelaide this week, 10,000 in Tasmania.
What's the reason behind they said the disadvantage for a team if they lose in Brisbane, if they win in Brisbane to get to the next game? Is there a quarantine issue?
I don't think so because you have to do 60 hours home quarantine before we go to Adelaide.
Yep.
You got to do 1 night hotel quarantine in Queensland before the game, and Tasmania they can just fly in and out. So it's probably better for Sydney and GWS and Bulldogs and Essendon to just do that.
Yep.
But for the spectacle, who knows? Potentially Brisbane would have been.
You ragging on Tasmania, are you?
No.
I'm just saying, what if Brisbane?
Sounds like you're not.
What if Brisbane came 5th and Essendon, are they flying Essendon up there for that game?
You would think so.
Yeah. So it seems weird that that's the decision, but
yeah. So hopefully, if we were to beat Brisbane, they would, you'd think, get a home semi.
Yeah.
So we'll wait and see on that. You guys are playing in Adelaide. We got a good record there, 7-5. Are you comfortable playing at that ground?
Got a great neutral record. We played North, the only neutral game I think I've ever played at Adelaide
100%.
Oval, and we're 1 from 1. Actually, I didn't play.
So I'm 1 from 1.
Yeah, you're 1
and
from
love
1.
It's unreal. I love playing at that Oval in any circumstance. I think it's a great venue, and I love the ground's real good. So
We got some fans there as well.
we do. We've got a strong contingent of players with families there as well.
Yeah, they usually pop up and come to the game at Adelaide. I know a lot of people love travelling to Adelaide. One of the best games to go to if you're a travelling supporter at Adelaide, like right there on the main strip.
Sharon Neal-Bullen's going to be there.
Sharon Neal-Bullen potentially might be holding the banner alone, just her.
And find a way to do it, I reckon, as well. She
could be our guest next week.
Geez, she would.
If we get stuck in Adelaide, I don't know what's going on with protocols post the game, but if we're in Adelaide for a week or 2, let's get Sharon on.
Yep. Well, can we do that with the restrictions?
We'll ask Frosty. At this stage, we're flying up Friday.
Yep.
Unlikely to train on Adelaide Oval because there's a game there Friday night. And then we're hoping we'll come back, but there is, of course, a potential that we would stay and hub for the remainder of the final series, but there's obviously...
So you're saying captain's run in Melbourne, then travel?
Likely.
Or travel and captain's run at a random sandful?
Norwood, maybe? No, we're likely to captain's run here.
Where did we train last year? Was it
North
Adelaide Roosters? Yeah, we trained there. Geordie McKenzie and Mitch Clisby
Edge.
were up on the boards of the North Adelaide change rooms.
Yeah, geez, those are the days.
Yeah.
Who did we play that week?
That was last year. Yeah, that was North Melbourne or Adelaide, one of the two.
So there's been plenty of rumours, of course, around the grand final. It's looking unlikely, of course, to be in Melbourne. Perth is in the box seat, but you still do have to do the 7 days quarantine at this stage. They're not keen on families coming to the hub. Adelaide are being a little bit more lenient. Do you have a preference? If we were to make the grand final, I'm sure you'd play it anywhere, but a preference on the grounds?
It's just a big game of politics, isn't it? If you're a political watcher, you'd just love this, wouldn't you? You'd just be sitting back watching all these premiers just go at it. But
and don't worry, mate. It's been noted that you twice now have deflected very successfully when asked where you'd want to play. So that's a politician at work.
Answers, yeah.
The fans want answers, and you said just a big political game.
You're still coming to task that COVID's a thing. So
I've well and truly.
You are dumbfounded that the granny's still not in Melbourne.
My political party's in absolute shambles, trying to scramble together a COVID response after it's been about 8 weeks. So I
love Adelaide. I love Perth. They're probably the two best grounds outside the MCG. So they're the two places that I'd love to play. Queensland can be a bit different with conditions sometimes, and Tassie sometimes you can have a blowing gale and kick 12 goals in the first quarter, and then like our game against North in 2016, they kick 12 and we kick 12 in the second.
How many did you have that? You and Goldstein had like 20 goals between that day.
Yeah, none of us got the votes.
Yeah.
Boomer Harvey kicked 8, I think.
That'll do it.
That usually gets 3.
Yep.
I wonder if Tana will get the 3 with the 7 last week. That could hurt Clary.
Yeah, wow. Clary in the...
Yeah.
Jeez.
Someone's told me that Clary's a chance. I don't know if he's a chance. But
he should join the top
will
one.
Be one of the best speeches ever, especially if it's done via Zoom, which will make it
him
even more awkward.
Yeah, jeez. Just tell him to stay away from geometry and shapes and squares and stuff, and he'll be all right.
We'll skip ahead to awards because Thursday night it is all happening. The AFL Coaches Award is going to be given. Clary has
to win it, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has to win
which
it.
We have worked out is the best award.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Agreed.
he was 3 votes clear of Bontempelli. You would think he would get 10. You might pinch a couple from the weekend.
So worst case scenario, he gets 8 on the weekend.
Yeah, I think he'll win it. Bontempelli
Bont was in
unlikely
2
to poll
losses.
in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. Who was third?
Merritt, Wines, all in the conversation, but a fair way back.
Bombers finished well.
Yeah.
He would have polled last week as well, maybe not 10.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So,
if I was a coach this week, I'm giving him my 5.
Yeah.
So
that's one of the better performances I've seen.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
I think he's pretty safe. So we might get a taste of a speech there potentially.
Yeah,
Rising Star Thursday night. Another great speech. Luke Jackson.
Dogger.
He's actually improved.
Oh, that's 2 all-time speakers.
Yeah, I can't wait to see
going at it.
Yeah.
I wonder if Dogger, if they ask him a question outside of footy, if they can get him on a tangent.
This is where you should really step in and say, just keep it in between, in the V for Dogger. Just let him flat bat it.
Early.
Who hosts these types of awards?
I'm not sure
Is it Sarah Jones? Would it be?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Fox Footy.
We should try and
Thursday
get a
night.
question in. Try and send her a question.
About like planetary bodies or something.
That's if he wins. Obviously, Georgiadis has been strong.
Luke Jackson's an unbackable favourite. They've paid out.
McInerney. Have I got another one?
No, people are big on him.
Jimmy Jordan.
Underrated. Jimmy Jordan, Trent Rivers.
Have we got a chance to
plenty
get
of
Tommy
options.
Sparrow around 23 nom? Was that? I mean, I saw 3 contested marks, but did he do what else did he do? Some of his contested marks were unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, look,
maybe if you had a slot of that one
that would have
at
been
the end,
big.
that would have been big. Not sure. Hopefully.
Do you know much about unrewarded
Gawn.
eligible players, and is Tom Sparrow at the top of that list? Do you know who hasn't got one?
I'm not sure who else is fighting
that's
for
a
that
big
last
ask.
one.
Yeah.
That's a
Usually
big
we
ask.
find out about now as well. So maybe the horse is bolted.
We get a message from Goodrock. He's usually walking in about now, breaking into our sending us an email about something that we can't tell anyway. So
his favourite thing. Sorry, our boss Matty Goodrock. He runs the show
your
here.
boss.
He runs
not
the
really,
show.
no.
He runs our podcast.
Gibbo hated that.
He sends a fixture email at 5:55 saying, "Boys, just released. Keep this between yourself.
Yeah.
This is the finals fixture. Do not tell anyone.
It's gonna
Will
go
be
live at
released at 6 p.m." Well done, mate. Well
Good
done.
on you. Bit of validating
That
his
is
position
true.
there, but
Other award on Thursday night, coaches. Potentially best coach of the year, Simon Goodwin. I'd be back.
Yeah.
There's a coach of the year.
who gives that?
I don't know who's voting on
Not
that.
Sticks anymore.
Well, certainly wouldn't be, unless it's we're probably not allowed to talk about medicinal marijuana.
I mean, if Sticks wants to come on and be a tier 3,
You know,
tier 2 sponsor.
he actually Wow. Because he asked me, he was like, let me get on. We could get him on to talk medicinal marijuana. But he certainly, I don't think there's any link there between, I'm not certainly not
We got the
suggesting-
thumbs up that's staying in.
It's allowed.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I
it's
mean,
great for chronic
No Cut
pain.
podcast. So
there's
of
a
course
strong
it's
link
saying-
between NFL players and medicinal marijuana. So never,
Yeah,
we're
we
a no
could-
cut podcast. We've never cut.
Oh, jeez, it makes
All
me
Australian
sick.
as well Thursday night. So are you getting any hints as to whether you've got the
You
nod?
said you found out 2 days before, so
Last year,
Find out
the
tomorrow.
event was Wednesday, and I think I got a phone call from Marnes on either Monday or Tuesday saying I was in the 40. So you find out if you're in the 40 either today or tomorrow.
Squad coming out later today.
Later today. Yeah, I mean, I've had an okay year, but so's Nick Nat, Darcy, Hickey.
Who else are we putting
Grundy.
in from Melbourne? Who are you locking in?
give me Petrarca, give me
I've got Petrarca and Oliver locked
Oliver,
in.
give me Stephen
Is
May.
Petrarca a half forward? He's probably not getting into the midfield. I don't
He's in the team though, isn't he?
Maybe interchange.
Yeah, and then the two tall defenders is where it gets
Give me May and
interesting.
Lever.
Well,
Lever's a
I mean, to be fair, Aaliyah has been unbelievable.
There's 6 spots in the
But
back line.
Lever most intercept marks of all time.
More
on
than
average.
Aaliyah?
Yeah, on average, most intercept marks in a season ever by anyone.
Oh,
So
take
that's a
that,
big
Jade
year.
Rollins.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jade Rollins used to walk around here saying he's had the most Mark Oppo kicks ever in life.
That's an inside joke.
Yeah.
So-
So take that if he's listening. Not sure if he's listening,
Tweak, if you're listening, tweak.
but and Maisie v Wiedering, is that what it is?
Yeah, potentially.
Maybe Harris Andrews.
Always in the conversation. They seem to stick to similar key defenders. Obviously, they're the best players in the comp, but it's hard to measure the keys. You got forwards, you're going to put in goal kickers.
And
Fritsch, 47.
we had a
He
podcast
didn't
push.
quite get the Coleman, Fritsch. He needed his 12.
What did he kick?
But he got 47 in the end. Mackay,
How many on the
57.
weekend?
So doing the masses.
One, I think.
One.
Yeah.
So it fell just short.
Yeah, I think the Fritsch, the Coleman plans fell pretty short when
During the
half-time
second
we
quarter,
got,
I gave up on that.
8 goals kicked in a row on us. So
I think Hawkins started believing in the second quarter.
yeah, he got some wind. But no, I mean, are we missing anything else? They pick Mark of the Year. Is there almost Mark of the Year that I would probably win if I?
I did like it. So there's been a lot of Instagram posts recently. Maybe something to do with a Telstra ad. But
Liberatore.
yours was Libba one. So he
So
posted
far and
why
away.
I play footy was just
Big fat wad of
Some
hundreds,
cash.
which has been taken down.
really.
Yeah.
That's it.
Because it was a sponsored post, Telstra probably didn't like it.
Well, why wouldn't they? Everyone's talking about it. We're talking about it here.
That's
Telstra.
true.
What are you
As soon as I
doing?
saw it, I wanted to go down and call someone on the free
I
phones.
bought like 10 phones. Yeah, exactly. I saw it and I thought, geez, get a Telstra
So
phone.
your post was a ripper. You
Mine
were
didn't get
taking
deleted
a hanger.
either.
Neil Bullens was good getting the bird from someone
Yeah.
in Adelaide. There's been some good ones.
Yeah,
Have you posted?
No.
So
Do you need
have
to?
do one? Oh, come on. You didn't post.
Well, I think I might have had to, and I missed it.
I think what he's looking at, you've just kicked the game-winning goal. I can sell out to
Should I
Telstra.
sell out on the game
Or
winning
this
post?
is a really authentic moment.
And look what I've done. I didn't sell out.
No, you didn't. And
I'm a man of the
we're
people.
proud of you here because
Thank you.
we know we've got a corporate backing behind us. And Telstra, as of yet, I mean, we don't have a phone sponsor. That
Well,
could
all of a
change.
sudden, they are probably tier 3 straight away. The amount
But
of
welcome
mentions.
Telstra to the sponsorship part of tier 3 level. So maybe if we get like new phones or something, then they can bump up.
But Mark of the Year has just been won by McAdam. Yesterday. Bad luck.
Well,
to
it's
everyone.
Rewalt.
Well,
I thought it was Rewalt.
I'm pushing McAdam now as well. Rewalt and McAdam.
There's plenty of options. Have to have been the best year of all time for Marks.
Yeah, it has to be.
Oh, Howie won't be happy with that.
Mate, have you
Does
seen?
he take
Did
him
you
on this
see
year?
Rewalt's mark?
Howie took 15 in 1 year, I reckon.
Sorry, did you see Jack Rewalt's
Yeah,
mark?
sorry. And
And
all the
McAdam.
podcast team back at home know that Jack Rewalt's mark is easily the best this year.
So when's that start voting? When can I
Well,
vote
I
for
think
that?
that's going to be given on Brownlow night.
Of
So,
course, yeah. So, but can you start voting now? sort of thing?
Potentially after this round 23 one is locked in, I'm sure they'll
Yeah, okay.
open those lines. So fans get on Jack
Get
Rewalt.
on him hard.
What is the most All Australians from a team? Geelong had 9.
I
didn't
know.
Oh, they had a big year
Yeah.
back in there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think we'll get 9.
They do seem to favour teams that make the finals.
Yep, top of the ladder.
So hopefully we get a good number. But I know, I'm speaking for myself, you don't play for these sorts of awards. We're playing to go deep in September, and we got a chance. We got a chance to definitely be there for 2 weeks.
Ed Langdon Smokey on the wing.
I think
dropped off a bit.
halfway you'd probably have him locked in.
So
And
what
Salem,
are you saying post halfway?
I'd say his form wasn't as good as some of the other wingmans.
That's not going to help us because we know he's a listener. He's a listener because he comes up to us and goes, "What did you boys? I heard about this and heard about this."
You know, there's actually been, and this is the truth about Ed Langdon. Someone has started ransoming. So he lost one of his favourite keep cups.
Yeah,
Lost
which we
it.
don't know.
No idea where it is.
We've taken some guesses.
The ransoming. So he's starting to get text messages from an unknown phone number, like unmarked phone, like a photo of his like keep cup in like shackles and like.
Have you got a burner phone?
I don't own a burner phone. Have you seen my phone? My phone's just hanging on as it is.
As like our great friends at Telstra.
Yeah, Telstra. They it's a great connection, but just hanging on. So I don't have a burner phone. I don't know who it is. I'm speculating, but it's so he'd be flat. That's probably weighing on his mind a bit when after he lost it halfway through the season.
Let's go out on a limb.
Sure.
And do a sponsored post, Gus and Gawny on Instagram for Telstra. Just see where it gets us.
Wow.
Just see where
They'd
it
love
gets
it.
us.
Mate, they'd love it.
Yeah, just see if a new iPhone pops into that nice little house in Elwood that you live
And that
in.
nice little mansion down on the Ninch.
Not a mansion.
So any other
I'll
news?
tell you what, your phone's having no issues. I was about to interview Max post-game. He had to do a quick call for the radio. I don't know why, you handed me your phone just to hold on to. Blowing up. Text after text. How many post-game?
It was a little power move to give it to Gibbo. So just watch what comes in here.
See how popular I am. Yes, Max, you're the captain of Melbourne. You just kick a winning goal to get us top of the ladder.
We had to. That's how media. You talk to media now by phones at the end of games and not in the room. So you go. I had a little phone call with 3AW and gave Gibby my phone, and my phone did blow up. I have had a quiet couple of weeks. Like beating Gold Coast by 100, beating Adelaide by 40, and I get back and not even Jess has to send me a text.
You still get the great goal from Hamish Blake.
Yeah, Hamish is the only consistent, and now Ryan Shelton, who is also a friend of the podcast, he actually sent me a video message of him in the bathtub.
Yeah, brilliant, and not like that,
which we would put on our socials, but I'm not.
yeah. It's all above water, so we don't have to worry about that.
So they're usually two of the post game texts, but I got a few more this week, which I'm sure everyone would have. To be honest,
so can you? And this really irked me. You sent me a photo of something during the week, and your unread messages. There's a bubble, which I will put up. My description might not be the best, but you can see how many unread messages you've got in your message folder based on.
There's the notifications on some apps.
Yeah,
and the message app.
And yours is 876 unread.
876 unread. Yep. So. And my email was a 180.
How many missed calls?
Missed calls was over 100. I don't know how to get rid of the missed calls. You actually
Easily,
you have to call them back.
No, you don't. You
probably should have.
Yeah, well, that's how many of them are mine, by the way?
The text a few. No. So the text message, you know how you can look in your screen.
Yeah, mate.
And if it recognises your face, it shows you the text without even to unlock
this
your phone.
No.
So
I've still got the thumbprint.
If it recognises your face on Face ID, you can just have a look at the message. And if it's something I don't need to reply to, I then never open it.
Okay.
So the 800,
That's terrible.
It goes back to 2 years.
2 years?
2 years, my number up to 870. Emails just refreshes itself. That's like, it constantly stays at 180 or whatever it
There
is.
has to be something you've missed along the way. It sickens me. Mine is zero.
I'm a zero. I can't
I'm a zero
live.
guy.
I don't even like having Insta stories unclicked. I just tap through them.
Well, so
Do you get to the end of your Insta stories?
Yeah, I just
I've never done that. When I do that, that shows someone who spent 9 hours on TikTok on their
Someone who never
on their
leaves their
screen.
house.
What is your screen time these days?
It's actually dropped about an hour.
Yeah, right.
That's a start.
That's
We're
good. What are you
working on
down
it.
to? About 14 hours now.
Yeah, it's been good.
What are you doing with that extra hour?
free time. You don't have to do yourself.
Cooking a bigger dinner.
Yeah, cooking well.
So the last time I cleared it was an international flight.
Yep.
So you get obviously 15 hours there. So my next international flight, looking like 2029 maybe. That's all things going well. You never know when we're going to be allowed to leave the country, but
I'm not going to make a guess. My last COVID take was terrible.
so it's not. I reply to texts, and especially ones that have like questions and need me to reply. So it's not like I'm not replying to people, but I just don't open some texts
Well, there you go.
and don't return some calls.
And don't open some emails. Gibson, do you have any other news?
Nah, that's all. Big week. A lot to look forward to.
Yeah.
He's going to hang with us for the rest of the podcast. We're going to take a break.
Sure.
It's an honour.
That was a short first segment, 18 minutes.
Yeah, I'm winding up. I'm coming off the long run for what could be the most
We'll get into our
important.
guest
The
just
tell-all.
after the break.
Yep.
Thanks to our co-principal partner and podcast sponsor, Zurich Insurance. For over 100 years, they've been insuring the people and things you truly love. And just like you, they truly love footy and they truly love the D's.
Welcome back to Gus and Gawny. Obviously, everyone knows that we would not be able to do what we love doing in podcasting if it wasn't for our fantastic Tier 1 sponsors.
Yep. Top of the list has to be Zurich if we're talking about, the order of which things go. They're the best.
I mean, there's only two companies that have actually done anything for us, and one Zurich.
Yeah, big time. They've really chipped in.
And then
in a
the
big
other
way.
one, Oliver Locke, gave us a
Boy,
scone one day.
those are
and
the days. Scone days.
she called me this morning and wants to know what we can do going forward. And
Yep.
she mentioned Father's Day, so potentially a Father's Day hamper
Yeah, okay.
for the next father we get in.
Sure. Could be Sticks Brayshaw at this rate.
Could be Sticks. Actually, we should talk to Sticks.
Should get him. He'd have plenty to say.
Bailey Fritz Electrical and
course.
Fat Nut Customs.
Fat Nut Customs. Sparks has got some things in the works, but for now, Tier 2 sponsor, I think we mentioned him last week.
No, we gave him off last week. So
Okay.
Bega.
Bigger fasteners and industrial fittings. We got Aaron Vandenberg chipping in with
Squash,
some stuff there.
Clutch and
Squash,
Go.
Clutch and Go.
And now it leads me to the more interesting one out of all this is Barbie Onions.
Yeah.
Now I want to talk about Barbie Onions because they've been mentioned Tier 2 the whole way through. Again, a lot of sponsorship chat, and everyone, Gus and Gawny, would know about Barbie Onions.
They'd have to. Yeah.
You haven't posted for how long?
I'll tell you exactly. The last one was on the 1st of May.
So are we allowed to tell people that it's you?
It's me. If you haven't figured out.
Yeah, but you've never really come out and said it's you.
Yeah. Anyway, so the last one was on the 1st of May. It was a photo of my fist next to 3 onions, which I thought were large.
Yes.
And I said, have a look at the size of these onions.
Great content.
And that's it.
Did you not get much love from that
I
photo?
got a lot of love. I got 4,000. I got the followers. The Onionites are there, but it's just.
So you've lost passion for it.
Oh no, I eat onions all the time still.
But you've lost passion for making sure
look,
everyone else.
The social media. I'm obviously the social media manager of this organisation.
Well, 3 different Instagrams, which is crazy.
Crazy for me, and I think in terms of priorities, my last COVID lockdown was last year was Barbie Onions. That was the Barbie Onions time.
Yeah.
This year, it's definitely and you would appreciate, has shifted to the Gus and Gawny show.
I'm very appreciative.
So how am I going to do? I'm only
You actually
one man.
changed the password on me. I can't even get in.
Oh, because I got hacked.
Yeah.
Got a data breach. I'll tell you, it's.
You love getting hacked. You love getting hacked on
I'll have to
Instagram.
bleep that out. So, yeah, my phone. It's my phone. It's terrible.
I tried Danielle 10, but it didn't work.
No, it's Danielle is the best with a D and a Z in there. So yeah, no.
So it might come back, I might not.
I come back.
Watch the space.
Watch this space. It's still a
I
sponsor.
can probably drop off the sponsors if they don't come back sometimes.
They'll definitely come back. I'll do a Gus and Gawny themed post next to solidify my sponsorship. But as I sort of alluded to earlier in the show, and which will be obvious based on the Spotify title of the show, our guest this week, and I'm very excited. A lot of pressure on my shoulders as well, is Max Gawn. So Max, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I've heard a lot about the podcast. I'm hearing great things.
Yep.
I really like what you've done with developing Cade Chandler as the best news hound in the business.
Yep.
And taking over Talking Points is probably the best rated show on the internet.
Yeah, well, it's clear to me that you're a strong listener with that sort of insight. But enough about us.
Okay.
Inhale and exhale, and we jump into it. So you are the captain of the Melbourne Football Club.
Yep.
1964, last year.
Great year for the club.
Great year for the club. Last year we won the minor premiership. I want to break down the game that's just been.
Did we win the minor that year as well?
Yeah, it was the last time we did.
Yeah, right.
Bringing facts
Who was the
already.
captain?
I wasn't alive.
Neither was I.
Yeah, nor was I.
Anyway, so we drive down the highway, and you cross the ferry. So that's not strictly true. Max Gawn crosses the ferry when we play in Geelong.
Technically didn't drive down the highway.
Didn't drive down the highway. We get there, we start. It was a good first quarter. Talk me through the second quarter. I was watching from the wing, and a lot of it we were getting pantsed by Dangerfield and Selwood and co. What was
Seems like you're separating yourself from any sort of responsibility of what happened in the
There was
second
about
quarter.
a 10-minute patch where they went clearance goal.
I'm on the wing. I did nothing. I was just
I
watching.
had great tickets.
Geelong's pretty narrow.
Very narrow. I was sort of standing there, but you know.
Sorry,
give a
Angus,
free
for
kick.
letting you down.
So talk me through your mindset. We're talking. I think they kicked 8 goals to our 0. Is that correct?
9 in a row at one stage. Yeah.
9 in a row. So we get in at half time. You're the leader of the club. We're all on the line. We're winning the minor premiership if we win this game, and down to third if we don't. What's going through your head at that stage of?
Let's talk ferry first, because I'm glad you brought that up.
Take it back.
So obviously I live down the coast. Ferry's a much easier option. We had to go through some fine print to see if I could actually take the ferry with AFLPA restrictions with public transport. Apparently if I stayed in my car, I was all good. Stayed in my car. You can check the vision. Stayed in my car. There was 3 cars on the boat. Normally that's a 100 car boat type setup.
A barge. Yeah.
Normally packed, especially this time of the year. And one was actually Robbo Roberts, who commentates for Triple M on the Boundary Rider, so he was going to the same thing. And the other one was a family of 4 that recognised me pretty early and were knocking on my window, asking me to wind down my window and have a chat to them. And I tried to let them know that I wasn't really allowed to through the window, so hopefully they understand. And that was a pretty boring trip, as you can imagine, stuck in your car at the bottom of a boat with it going.
How was the weather? How was the weather?
Smoothish bay conditions, which was good.
Could have been a potential fatal move if it was blowing any sort of wind.
I would have been horrible, and I can get boat sickness, so it was a risky move, but I did it.
Anyway,
first quarter good, second quarter bad. So what happened in the second quarter? At halftime, when we got addressed that our numbers are pretty good. Maybe some broken tackles, and maybe some calmness with the ball. But overall, our numbers were not too bad. But the 4 centre bounce goals that happened in 3 minutes. So if you take away those goals, they're up by maybe 2 goals and it's still relatively even. And centre bounce goals are hard to put in the scheme of the rest of the game because they're so different. So they dominated that bit for 4 minutes. But when you get to halftime and realise that if there's one part we can tidy up, then we're only 2 goals behind. And then we just start going the actual message of cleaning our tackles and cleaning our disposal. And then all of a sudden we start going to run on. But and especially Reece Stanley, I've played him heaps, and when he gets some confidence in that centre bounce, he's one of the hardest players to stop. He's up there with Nick Nat-Nui with the type of jump that he can bring at centre bounce. So he had some super confidence there at the end of the second, and we were able to. The half time came at a good time. The hooter came at a good time. Yeah. We were able to reset.
We were. So we got the hard hats on, start chipping away in the third quarter.
Nothing special in the third.
Nothing
special. Took us 10
special.
minutes to kick the goal. I think Clayton was the first goal. Because I made a mention at half time, whoever kicks the first goal, let's get all 18 players. And I actually forgot because Clayton kicked the goal about 10 minutes in, and then Sparks goes, Gawny, Clayton. I'm like, is that the first one? Jesus, I wasn't expecting that. So I was hoping we could all get to someone after the first 20 seconds.
Which happened in the fourth quarter. So we chip away all third quarter, get a jump on the fourth quarter, kick a few goals. All of a sudden we're in the game, chipping away. And I want to
right here in the third quarter. So the one more thing I realised in the second quarter is I wasn't getting water from Gibby anymore.
Is that so?
Yeah.
See, I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice before the game.
Going into half time, I thought the club has made a big blue this week. So I got a text from Mel, who's sort of in charge of things around here, on the Friday night, and she said basically not required.
Yep.
And
at all.
Dropped.
Dropped.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Someone else to take photos
Dropped
as well.
for the biggest game of the year.
Yeah. And I said,
Ouch.
Dropped after 2 wins. Brave.
Yep.
So
I noticed that midway through the second quarter. In fact, his replacement, Eleni, who does a lot of work and has worked with us all year, missed the bubble with some work that she also does, but was able to come back this week. She gave me, in the last quarter, at about the 20-minute mark, she just ran past me. Wasn't expecting it. Doesn't talk to me much normally on the field. Runs past and goes, you boys are doing well.
That's a positive.
That's
Do
just
you
what
ever
we
say
need.
anything like that?
No.
my chat's not as good.
Yeah. Anyway,
Back to fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter, chipping away. And when I say chipping away, we're getting a run on. I want to start my in-depth analysis with around, I'd say, 2 minutes to go. So they're chipping the ball around. They're trying to ice the game.
You almost lost the game.
So that's what I'm getting to.
Yep.
I want your in-depth thoughts. So it's chipping around. We get into a contest. The ball goes up, and I try to soccer it forward. It goes out of bounds.
As
And
deliberate as I've said.
a deliberate out of bounds is paid.
Yep.
What is going through? Do you remember what you were thinking at that
I
moment?
said Gus has cost us the game.
Because I'll be honest, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, I've cost us the minor premiership with an deliberate out of bounds free kick. Is that exactly? Because that's exactly what I was thinking.
It wasn't.
What were you thinking?
I was setting up for a boundary throw-in, and then it wasn't that clear that it was a deliberate. I think the umpire was next to Guthrie, so he didn't come from a long way to do that normal deliberate thing. So I was setting up for a throw-in, and then I'm like, geez, this is weird. So that's why I wasn't even in the down-the-line contest, because normally I would have got straight there, and so would have the opposition ruck, but we were sort of setting up, and then that didn't really matter. But it got quickly forgotten about, didn't it?
Second part. Yeah, so essentially you were thinking about your head.
Well, before you, Tom Sparrow cost us the game because he had a set shot, and then before that, Ben Brown cost us the game. So those things are going through my head.
I appreciate that attitude.
Yeah.
Guthrie kicks it out on the full. And Guthrie, by the way, experienced player, veteran of the team, out on the full. Bloke spoils it into the ground. What?
That's right.
Yep, that's all
Carry
right.
on.
What are you looking at me for?
Just good player, Guthrie.
Kicks it on the full.
Yeah. Okay.
Bloke spoils it 20 rows deep, 50-metre penalty. Rick Lever's got the ball in his hands.
I'll tell you one thing here. One of the unsung heroes of the night is Pencil. our physio.
Yeah, Brenton.
He jumps the fence so quickly, grabs the ball, chucks it to Rick. Rick runs.
But it's time off anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, but Geelong didn't have time to get all their numbers back.
Okay.
So great move by
Pencil.
Oh, let's give him a pump up later on the Savo pencil.
So you see Rick Lever with the ball in your hands.
I'm worried.
He's about 49 out. I'll be honest with you. I was like, so what's your opinion? What are you thinking? Because you're, running back, obviously, to try and.
I thought we had more chance when Guthrie had the ball than when Rick had the ball. I was glad the umpire pulled him up just on the 50.
Yeah.
So I saw that and I realised he can't go for a shot unless Maisie or Riv are around for a handball. But surely Geelong would be onto that.
Yeah.
So
they were both in the goal square.
Were they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Maisie was the first to talk to me. That's right.
So Rick, when I saw Rick Lever, and I reckon he was on the mark was on the 49. Like he was.
We've seen Rick at training. He's miserable.
Exactly.
He's
so I'm thinking he's got to have a shot because I don't know how long was left on the clock. Maybe 10 seconds.
It was about 30
seconds. I'm thinking he's taking his time.
Yeah.
And I honestly felt sick in my stomach. And then did you expect that kick?
We had a bit of eye contact. I love it when I lock eyes of a kicker. So I locked eyes of him, and then I looked away, and he looked away to try and disguise it.
Yeah.
And then I locked back eyes of him just as he was about to kick it. And then I knew that even if I was manned up at the time, an advantage side kick like that, I was going to be a red hot chance to mark it.
Okay, now stop there. Stop right there, because here's where I want to get a little bit of insight. The kick goes. You must know it's coming for you pretty early on. You take one bite of the cherry, and it comes out of your hands. There's a bloke very close.
I don't think there was ever handoff footy. I reckon it came out of one hand.
Jeez, I reckon you go on the slow motion replay. There is space between mitt and cherry.
Smartly tapped it over Gary Rowan's spoil.
So is that what we did? Are you just playing footy at that point, or
just playing footy?
Are you thinking, my God, I've dropped?
Knew I had time to double grab it.
Okay, so you double grab it.
Maybe a bit dewy.
They pay the mark. Everyone's looking.
They pay the mark, or it was a mark.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just chronologically knocking these over in order, and you start walking back. And I'm not sure what, because let's be in a nice way. You've got a history of set shots in Geelong Football Club. You know what I mean? You've missed. Let's be honest. It would be avoiding the topic, the elephant in the room, to say there was a bit of history behind this one, bit of expectation potentially. And I get the sense the Geelong boys, and you can tell me here if you heard any of the heckling coming from them, because it was thick and fast. Well,
I'm not sure if the no crowd helped or didn't help, but what it certainly did was made me hear a lot of what was being said around me. So maybe a bit of crowd noise might have been actually a little bit more settling. So early on when I took the mark, my first thought when I took the mark was like, why do I keep doing this? I could have just happily sat outside 50 and let Maisie try and mark it. I don't know why I went down there. So I took the mark, and that was my first thought. And then I'm like, okay, I got told at the stoppage before you went deliberate that we had a minute left. And then when I took that mark, I thought all of a sudden there was 10 minutes left.
Yep.
Like it just blew out in my head. So I went back, and everyone's telling me not to rush and stay calm, but I wasn't listening to that. I almost kicked it within 10 seconds. Like I went back and started walking in. Then the siren went, and that helped. The siren was a blessing in disguise. That's twice. The Hooter helped us at halftime and then helped me in my routine. And then I realised that, I'm not missing this. Went back and said. So some of the chat that was going on. Maisie first.
Yeah.
He picked me up, or I don't think I fell over, but he
was running back with you as you were walking.
And he said, I'll love you no matter what, which wasn't the confidence I wanted.
Yeah, that seems like a bloke who's resigned to the fact you have a chance to miss.
So he wasn't backing me in early. Then I look around and Clary is talking to Dangerfield.
Yep.
And apparently post-game we hear that Clary was asking him about his leg because he didn't want to talk about what I was about to do. And Danger was telling him to shut up. I want to watch the goal. Then I hear that Petty and Jake Lever were facing the other way in the middle of the ground.
So I saw them face the other way, as I was also facing the other way.
So thanks for all the confidence.
I turned around because...
I was copping a barrage.
Yeah.
But that's fair. I mean, I would do the same thing on the mark. Nothing personal, all about 2018, mostly about 2018. A lot about me not hitting my boot, which was probably a red hot chance, to be honest. And then you chimed up. You said, don't listen to them, Gawny. You've got this. And I kind of wanted to turn around and say, shut up, Angus.
I just wanted to say something because I felt like you were getting overwhelmed potentially.
I was when you brought it all to my attention that there was a lot of talk.
Yeah, sure. So in future, you want me to join in?
I looked at the scoreboard for no reason.
Yeah.
So what I normally do, I look at the scoreboard to see if it's around 10 seconds for me to start walking in. But obviously, there's no reason to do that post-game. I looked at the scoreboard, realised again the situation was 2 points. So I shouldn't have done that. And then once I started walking in, I felt so comfortable. Stafford was in my ear, not literally, but Greg Stafford, our goalkeeping coach, was in my ear as I was walking in, and I did everything that I was supposed to do and kick the goal.
You want to know there was a sickening feeling just before you kicked, because I don't know if you started drifting off the line, if you would draw,
which is my natural arc.
So I don't know if it is. That would be what I would say. I'm not sure if we got here at training today.
Well, I haven't had 909.
It was far right, and I was like, this is going to get called, and we're going to lose the game as your
I'd much rather get called played on than miss it. So
It is your natural arc, but the rule is you have to kick it directly over the man on the mark. So you could have taken a few steps that way and then come around.
Yeah, God. So I
wasn't in the right state of mind to ask the umpire if I can take a couple of steps to my left before I
thank
start.
God you didn't. I saw it go through, and then we celebrated.
I have a natural arc. I always go right.
I'm not saying you don't have a natural arc.
But the umpires might not know much about my arc compared to Buddy, who's kicked 992.
4.
992.
2, yeah, right. He needs 8.
So, yeah, wow. Kick the goal goes through. You celebrated.
Yeah, well, at first, I didn't recognise the moment. I turned around and just wanted to do a quiet little fist pump, and then I saw Nibbler coming in pretty hot, and I thought, I reckon this...
He started running before you kicked it. Genuinely.
I couldn't.
What would he have done if I missed? He would have just
that's
ran in and then fallen over. But yes, I got a good goal. In the scheme of things, it does get us the minor premiership and make us finish top, which is a good position to be. But
bring it back.
In the scheme of COVID and whatnot, we're the same as the other 3 teams in the top 4. We're all playing on neutral grounds apart from Port. Port and Geelong, so that's half the teams aren't playing on neutral ground, but we're playing a neutral qualifying final against Brisbane, who are probably, with us and maybe Geelong as the 3 informed teams, like we've all won 3 or 4 in a row going into the finals.
Tough to get a read on Brisbane. They haven't played a top 8 team for 2 months, so
really?
But they are winning games, so they're looking.
They smashed Freo with quarantine for that 7 days, similar to us with the West Coast game, and then West Coast, they were challenged the whole game and were able to pull off something pretty miraculous at the end there as well. So as much as we had a bit of fun there, we went for 10 minutes about a kick that in the big scheme of things will be forgotten about in 2 weeks. So the focus does turn now to what could be a really good journey for us.
Yeah, that's going to be so exciting. Just before we leave, the last insight I want from you, you're sitting on your phone, blowing up, and you pull the trigger on an Insta. Were you thinking about the Telstra post in that moment, or was it just like, this is all about...
I pulled the trigger late. I pulled it at 12:30 a.m.
So what were you thinking? Like, I wasn't
going to do it. Then I saw James Harms, who's normally pretty hot on socials. I think his was up during the song. Christian Petracca, Clayton Oliver, these sort of guys, the big Instagram boys
the Grammars
had put up photos. I'm like... Well, they're getting a bit of love.
You got to cash in.
At midnight. I'm like, geez, they're up, the Melbourne supporters. They're up. My mum, actually, I talked to her this morning. She said she opened a bottle of wine after the game.
Brilliant. And why wouldn't you?
So I thought, yeah, I might, but let's keep the Telstra post on the down low. They might give me a hurry up this week.
Well, that was unreal.
Gus and Gawny would do it.
Gus and Gawny's going to do it. And yeah, so that was an unbelievable end to a game. I think, have you ever had a game like, I can't remember... In terms of we've won one after the siren.
That's one thing. First time in the club's history we've won one after the siren.
Yeah, wow. We've lost one.
I've had some chances to break that a little bit earlier, but
the first one in history.
Yeah,
I've got a bad record post siren. So the Geelong one was actually just before the siren, but I've definitely missed it against Collingwood Queensbury after they're already down by 40. I missed that, and then the Hawthorn when you kicked it to me.
Yeah, I remember that as well.
I missed that one as well. So I've got a bad record post siren. Well, good record now.
But you're right. We've got a huge month coming up.
But I'm happy to celebrate this because it's a game of football that we've come back by 44 points. I think that's what's... If anyone comments about the over-celebration, like we would have done the same thing in round 10.
Yeah.
Would have been jumping all over each other. We do that after 40-point wins sometimes. We've come back against a side that has belted us down at Cardinia Park a fair bit. We've got a great rivalry with them in the last 5 years with... myself missing goal, Tomo missing a goal, and Zach Tui kicking a goal.
Yep.
All to win and lose games. So I think it's a big moment for us. Yes, of course, we're coming in here today and we're going to reset.
Yeah.
For anyone that's asking. Just before, is that your line of questioning?
That's my line of questioning done. I think for
nothing
those
about
who
my
listen,
life before footy or anything like that?
Mate, we know that. Oh, geez, let me think. Dominoes, smoking darts on the way to training.
It's a great story, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're going to just, the last 7 minutes, we're going to talk about all things podcast.
Yep.
I gave you some feedback actually post last show. I thought it wasn't our best.
And how have you reflected on the feedback you gave me?
Well, a lot of people give me feedback saying that's an unbelievable show last week, so I apologise.
That's okay. I appreciate that.
You've been good today. Gibby, you've been good as well. Now, just to revisit a few things. When are we getting Glenn on?
Yep. So it's a bit of context. Loose ends. This is we're going to wrap up a few loose ends from our podcast before we launch into our final series as well. You know, it's big for us. So
I don't think we're going to be going on for October, November. We might have a mandated break there.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows what the future holds. Glenn's probably not in our future.
Yeah, because we need a little lawyer to talk to Shapes.
Shapes have, let's be honest, completely betrayed us.
Yeah, and we haven't heard much.
It runs deep. It runs really deep, and we were seriously considering some legal counsel. Glenn was the top of the list at the time, our president. And so Shapes, we applied for a Shapes ambassadorship.
Yep, didn't get it.
Didn't even hear back from him.
No,
I filled in the application, didn't hear back from him. Barbie onions flavour shape.
Got replaced by steak and onion.
Steak and onion, so they decided to, spit in my face again. And Glenn's no longer with the club, so we'd probably have to pay him now. It just doesn't seem like we got the budget space, and so Shapes is essentially dead.
So we're hereby saying we are not going to go after Shapes anymore.
They're dead to us
unless something does arise.
Unless they hear this and realise it's they're in the same boat as Lingers for mine. Yep. This is forget about it. And if Lingers one day comes to us and says I'm on the show, great. It doesn't look likely. You did have a box of Shapes on the way home. I
did. I had a savoury box of Shapes, everyone's favourite.
So we're still high on the product, and don't get the product caught up in the bad admin, but that's it. That's it for Shapes.
Just next week, I want to. We're going to play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire very quickly to finish the show, which is a great segment. Next week, I want both of you. I'm not sure if you're big cereal men. I'm a massive cereal man. Almost every day, I'm having a bowl of cereal at some point during the day, either breakfast, lunch, or dinner. When I was a kid, usually all three of those meals. I just wanted you to bring in your top 5 cereals.
Okay.
Don't bring them in literally.
Understood.
Don't need to bring the box in, but in your head.
Okay, that's going to be interesting.
I think it's going to be tough to beat Crunchy Nut. I think it's one of the all-time best.
I'll find a way.
If you can beat it.
I may have to go to the supermarket and test a few out.
Have you never had cereal?
I've had
I'm
cereal,
trying to involve you in the podcast, and then you just say you've never had cereal.
I'm not a regular cereal.
Okay, so Gibbo won't get involved, but
I'll get involved. I'll do a taste test.
Shapes, what else?
And Goody will love to talk about it as
well. Movies. Something to wrap up. What's that movie you watched the other day? You said that's the worst movie of all time.
Hitman's Bodyguard's Girlfriend. Well, I might have got those words mixed around. Don't bother. $25 on Amazon Prime. Worst 25 I've spent.
Wouldn't recommend that. What other loose ends? Millionaire.
We're playing it right now.
I'm going to whip through all of them.
You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
So you're a trivia nerd.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You let yourself down last time. You ready for the $100 question? You do have a lifeline.
Yep.
Let's ask Gibbo. What colour ball should normally be struck by the cue in snooker?
White.
That's $100. Well done. Absolutely.
That is a soda.
Which word means a signed document in support of a particular action? Is it A, perforation, B, petition, C, petition, or D, position? So A is spelled petition with an A. B is spelled petition with an A, and C is spelled petition with an E.
E, petition with an E.
This is actually you. Somebody described as Butterfingers would have a propensity for what? A, gardening, B, being clumsy, C, playing the piano, or D, cookery.
It's got to be clumsy, doesn't it?
Clumsy. Well done. Good work. This is good. Mildura is a Victorian town on which Australian river?
Murray.
Well done. This is for the big $1,000. The safe mark.
Where did I get to last time?
So you're guaranteed $1,000 if you get this question.
Paid for by East End Wine Bar.
We might go to Zurich for this one. Which North American animal has a distinctive black mask and a striped tail? Is it A, raccoon, B, the bald eagle, C, the grizzly bear, or D, a coyote?
Yeah, coyote.
Coyote.
I'm going to say A.
A, raccoon?
Yeah.
You lock it in?
Locked in.
$1,000. Well done.
I was waiting just in case a skunk was...
Skunk would have thrown a... Yeah.
That would have been...
Right.
I don't think they're North... I can't...
Right. $2,000.
Okay, get serious now.
In the TV series Perry Mason, which I can't say I've heard of, but you are a big TV series man. What is Perry Mason's occupation? Is he a policeman, a doctor, a lawyer, or a writer?
So I have seen my fair share of crime and hospital-themed TV shows and haven't heard of a Perry Mason. I'm going to go lawyer.
You're just going to take a stab in the dark?
Has to be. Who would make a show about a writer? That's my
Yeah,
reasoning.
but policeman, I've seen plenty.
Yeah, cop shows, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I've seen a lot. I'm locking in lawyer.
$2,000. I'm starting to think Gibbo's giving you some stuff. $4,000.
Okay.
PB for the show. Well done.
Would be.
In early 1998, which you would have been 4?
2.
An American tourist couple, I'll put a comma in for no reason. An American tourist couple mysteriously disappeared after being left behind where? Is it the Great Barrier Reef, Uluru, Hanging Rock, or New Zealand? Remember, you have a lifeline.
So I'm getting rid of New Zealand. The first 3 locations are super specific.
New Zealand did seem weird.
New Zealand can't be. Hanging Rock, I reckon, I've seen a movie and it was about a bunch of young school kids got lost there. So I'm not going to say Hanging Rock. Uluru.
Seems like Wolf Creek, Uluru.
Yeah, I want to say Great Barrier Reef. I reckon someone made a video. I'm going to say Great Barrier Reef.
Whereabouts on the reef they get left?
I don't know. They just got that. They were diving. They got left off their boat. I think I've heard this story before. I'm going to go
2. You're tuned into Sunrise.
Great Barrier Reef.
Jesus, that's correct. Well done. Okay. On which river does the Austrian city of Vienna stand? How's your Vienna knowledge?
Actually,
I've been to Vienna and I actually know this answer. I had a picnic by this river.
go on.
The funny thing is I don't know how to pronounce it though. Is it Rhone? That's spelled R-H-O-N-E.
The Rhone.
Could be Rhone. I like
Is Rhone.
I like Rhone.
The Rhone.
The Weser, the Rhine, or the Rahine, or Danube.
So I reckon the Rhone separates Germany and France. I don't think it's
Remember,
that.
you have a lifeline.
I recommend calling the friend to your left, not your right.
So
Oh yeah, am I a lifeline as well?
You're a friend. You know the answer.
you said I have trouble pronouncing it and butchered
You stumble through most
all
of them.
of them. So that's no help. I can't go out here. Go on, Max. You know this one, so tell me which one it is. I'm calling my friend.
I had a nice glass of red and a sandwich in 2017 by the Danube River. Could be Danube.
I'm going to lock in that one.
Lock it in?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah, the Rhone, I think, is in Germany and France, so I was a bit off there. Anyway.
What is the most famous tourist attraction in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, USA? Is it A, the London Bridge,
Okay.
B, Niagara Falls, C, the Grand Canyon, or D, Abraham Lincoln's home?
So,
You can knock out 2 straight away, surely.
yeah, I'm getting rid of Niagara Falls and I'm getting rid of London Bridge or whatever the hell that one was. What's the place called again?
London Bridge, Niagara Falls, Grand Canyon, Abraham Lincoln's home.
Okay, and
Lake Havasu City in Arizona. I think where Arizona is.
Arizona.
It's obviously not Niagara Falls.
Obviously, I've locked that one. I've knocked that one out. That one's out. So is London Bridge. Like, see, it sounds
I'm
like
pretty sure the Grand Canyon's Nevada. Isn't it? Yeah. Sorry to help you. No, to help you out there. But
yeah,
that's leaving you Abraham Lincoln's home.
yeah. That was one I was gonna say.
Okay.
If you had
$16,000.
let me deduce it myself, I'm sure I would have got there in the end.
$16,000. You're locking in Abraham Lincoln's home.
Yeah.
London Bridge. That's upset.
London Bridge.
Gee, Gawny's giving a real.
It says it there. I've written
me.
it down. London Bridge.
That has to be some sick joke.
You go home with $1,000 thanks to our good friends at Fat Nut Customs.
Yeah,
So go chase up Harmsy.
I
He
will.
owes you $1,000.
Sorry, when you say the London Bridge,
It's in Arizona.
understood. That can't be right.
I would have got there. I know I got the answer, but I would have got there knowing the other 3 were wrong.
Where was Abraham Lincoln born?
Not
and
in
raised?
Arizona.
How do you know that?
Someone told me one day Abraham Lincoln was not born in Arizona.
That's a terrible way to finish what's been a brilliant podcast. But
See you next week with hopefully Goody.
Yeah, we'll see. Or Lingers. Hopefully Lingers.
One of the 2. We actually won't have another guest unless it's one of those 2.
Please be Lingers.